all of us seems to be on that silencer. We'll have to wait until the game kicks off to see what impact that really has. It was a pretty decent one in game one. There we go. And as Ben brought up,
that is the good pickup to do right there. Do the Queen of Pain on the middle lane, the Mag on the off lane, and play the Enigma on the 4 roll instead. That's definitely the go-to pickup.
All right. Well,
what stands?
Wow. Oh, go ahead.
What stands out to me is that you have no support on the side of VP that can actually save. You have a Nightmare, yes, but it's not great to save when you're in a Chronosphere. You want to have something like a Shadow Demon, anything that can take down the target that's going to be in the bubble.
All right. Well, that's it for picks and bans. Game number 2. Alliance looking a little bit better, but is it enough to tie it up 1-1? We'll find out as our casters take it away on stage.
That's right, we're back here for game number 2, and I don't know about you, Blitz, but I feel like I'm going to be put to my test here. Enigma, Faceless Void, Skywrath Mage, Magnus, I mean, there's so many big-time ultimates on the side of Alliance, I feel like I'm going to have to be screaming 24/7.
It's going to be a jumble of words indeed. I've got the easy job here. I just have to kind of say a few words about what I feel about the lineups, and then just let you do your thing.
So what do you feel about the lineups?
Do you favor
one side or the other?
I think VP might have the better lineup, just because I think, like Jacob says, I actually agree with Jacob here over Ben Leamy, unfortunately, where I feel like the silencer is just going to be too big of an issue. It's going to be impossible to get a black hole off. Mad just has to accept that.
Yeah.
But I guess what I like about Alliance is they opted to go and put Mad, instead of going in the offlane or anything crazy like that, like they did with Bulldog, they just decide they're going to run him as a support this game. And so it's not too big of an overcommitment. And I think if you're Alliance, then you actually might just want to go for the 5-man yourself if you know that you have Eidolons and you're going to go for a quick mechanism. And I think that could play well. But if you play for the ultimate alone, I think that's a really big mistake.
Okay, so Pycat heads up to the top lane here. They did already see FNG at bottom, and it looks like VP doing the regular body blocking in the middle lane just to be able to secure the SF a bit better position in this 1-versus-1. So there should be at least one support at the top lane, but Pycat should be pretty good for this lane. He has to deal with the silencer, which is obnoxious, but this basically ensures that Bulldog will be able to get a lot of farm, and obviously his blink initiations are going to be critical for the follow-up of Alliance, who have so much AoE to them.
Yeah, and I actually really like this decision, although Pycat's getting quite low. The Fissure just a second behind, as they actually opted to put Pycat off into this off lane because they think that he would be able to survive better than a Magnus and Bulldog mid. I mean, I see it in his stream sometimes, but not really in too many competitive games, as he might be one of the players that is so associated with the off lane that this is actually kind of throwing me off a little bit.
Yeah, well, we'll see how he does already. We see a 4-1 pickup on God as he grabs another deny, so he's doing well for his first level. It looks like that Earthstriker block was good enough. This is a lane that SF does favor quite nicely, right? I mean, it's just the Magnus, all he can do is sit back and try and farm with Shockwave and the occasional right click.
Yeah, you just put it in perfect terms. Did my job for me. That's what the Magnus does. If you're a melee hero against a Shadow Blade.
Does he actually fall here? Pycat jump forward aggressively, and he will now be pushed back by Illidan. Didn't actually manage to get that last word off. He can throw it down now, but yeah, throws it off at the last second. Won't be enough to kill Pycat, so he should be fine. Meanwhile, in that bottom lane, look what DK Phobos is doing. He managed to intercept the pull, make sure there's no double pull, and will be able to grab that creep wave and bring it back to his tower. Now, what do you think FNG's real job is here? Do you think he just constantly contests the Skywrath Mage, or do you see better options for him as he wants to try and grab this 2-minute rune? But unfortunately, with Mad joining Ake, that's a 2-versus-1 scenario that he cannot win.
I think he's just trying to put some lane presence on because you know the Enigma isn't going to come early.
Right.
The Enigma doesn't want to help the lane at all. Contrary to popular belief, you don't want to rotate until you're level 6. You just want to power farm as much as you can. And the Bane plus the Centaur is strong enough to contest this off lane. If you get anyone into a sleep position, you've got so many follow-up nukes, right?
Yeah.
You've got the double-edged stomp combo that can come almost immediately onto Ake or Loda. So I think this is a really decent lane for them because they can contest pretty easily 2-on-2.
Yeah, I was just very surprised that they didn't put the Bane up against Queen of Pain, I guess. Just being able to throw out the sleep, and then you can actually put the last word on top of that sleeping unit, and the sleep timer will actually work to your favor, where the silence can potentially go off as the opener to wake that hero up, and then he wakes up completely silenced and also slow it down. I thought that would be a nice combination, but instead they choose to put that Bane bottom, which will allow DK Phobos to get a lot more farm. And yes, he's a hero that kind of has to make the offlane work, and that's probably a big factor, right? You have no backup plan as a Centaur offlane.
Yeah, definitely, but I think, and actually they're making a move on bottom as Loda time walks forward, but I think he's just trying to scare him, and I think the main reason that the Bane was bottom initially is that you want FNG to be your player that rotates around the map. I think he's a little bit more comfortable with it. Let Lil just sit up in this top lane, soak some experience, try to zone out Pycat using the fissure, and I think he's okay with that. And Bulldog in this mid lane is getting zoned out pretty hard. He's almost getting doubled in CS right now. He's got 13 for himself, but G's already up to 21, and this is starting to look like a repeat of last game.
Yeah, God. He's already looking so hot here. Now, what's Pycat's position here? Is he actually trying to gank up the middle lane, or is... Oh, okay, never mind. He's just going to go for that 4-minute rune, it looks like, with the fresh bottle that he has, and try and utilize that rune advantage, perhaps, to...
they're making a move.
They're actually going to jump onto God. The slow comes out from the Skywrath Mage. God pushed forward by the skewer, and there's your first blood. Okay, we'll secure it, and sure enough, as we were just saying, that it looks like a repeat of last game where God's going to get so much farm. They managed to gank him up successfully.
And you have to do that, and they rotated so many heroes so that you rotate your off lane, one of your supports. It's going to make things easier for the Centaur in this bottom lane. As we see already, he's contesting Loda for the farm, but a good move nonetheless. And I think right now they're kind of pinging around telling God, you should have seen that coming. We did have the high ground ward. They should have been spotted a little bit earlier. But with Pycat swinging all the way around to get the blink off, I think he knew that the ward was on the high ground.
And VP can't really afford to lose the laning phase pretty much at all, because they still have to worry about Mad, who is farming away. He's about to pick up his level 6 by minute 5. So pretty standard, but Mad not dropping a beat here as the jungle Enigma.
And he's doing a good job. He's not forcing himself to do anything right now. Like, he just continues to farm out the jungle, be patient. The rest of your team is doing just fine in the other lanes, and that's what you have to do. Just hold. Don't get frustrated. Don't feel like you have to do anything, because getting the mech off is probably the most important thing that he can do this game, rather than going for early game rotations that don't matter. What I'd like to see, though, is a rotation, a smoke gank by him right now at some point, where they try to make a move again on G if they can, but FNG looks like he is prepared for that, and he should know that the Enigma is level 6 now.
And if they don't do it soon, Illidan will be picking up his level 6 and have that instant global silence counter. A early ward, a lot of laning phase wards being placed by Alliance. They just used one at bottom lane in order to reveal potential ganks onto Loda, and now putting a defensive one in the middle lane to help out Admiral Bulldog as well.
Something I am a little bit concerned of, if I'm Alliance right now, is though the Pycat isn't getting the start that you typically see. Pycat get it.
There it is, jumping in again. God, there goes the RP, but DK Phobos is here. Already the sounds gets laid out, wakes him up, and will turn quickly kill at least one. Pycat has to just run himself away, but a very successful counter gank from VP, perfectly timed.
And Pycat's going to blink out for this. He does grab the haste rune, sees that G is low, and Pycat's just going to disengage, but a really good rotation by VP. It does cost you 4 heroes to move around, but I think it's well worth it to save your Shadow Fiend. Just try to get him snowballing as fast as you can. And I think this is the correct play from VP.
Yeah. And probably get the early kill on, would you say Admiral Bulldog as the Magnus is probably the highest priority hero for Alliance to get farm on, right? Like, his Blink Dagger is so critical that being able to shut down that timing is really big for VP.
Oh, for sure. Slowing him down at all. Because you already know that Pycat's going to have a rough game as this offlane Queen of Pain. Like, I've never seen Pycat play the offlane like this. And I think what they anticipated is that Illidan would maybe be up here by himself, and have the Earthshaker roam behind the Shadow Fiend to give him the one-on-one matchup. But with the Queen of Pain having as rough of a time as she is, that means that you can just devote heroes to try to shut down Bulldog, and that's what they've opted to do. And we saw this last game as DK Phobos is going to make the rotation into mid as G has to go back. He has the jungle to farm as well, so good rotations to try to split up the XP as much as they can, and that's a really early level 6 now from DK Phobos.
Yep, so with that ultimate as well as the global silence coming into play, we actually have 2 different big-time saving globals that could potentially disrupt any sort of gank from Alliance. Now, you can see right now they are looking for that gank on middle. God already slowed down. Here comes the double slows, but there goes that Centaur ultimate we were talking about. A perfect way to deal with slows. FNG going to be caught on the side, though. DK Phobos biding his time, waiting for his initiation. FNG gets brought quite low. There goes the Fisher. Pycat double stunned up. They still have the black hole, though, and that's going to hold DK Phobos. Silence goes out, and no kill just yet. Pycat pops his haste rune, but won't be able to find an opening anywhere on the side of VP. So a team fight where you see perfect play and counterplay between the two of them. But Admiral Bulldog skewer up to the trees. It does get slept up, but are they really going to try and be that aggressive? Yeah, they don't want to go onto the Lion side of the map, so they back themselves away and call it even.
That's actually a little bit surprising because with that ward, they should know that nobody from Alliance was ready for that. Like, Ake's not going to rotate in to help him, so I think that might have been a free kill on Bulldog, but they just went for the absolute safe play. And that's okay too, because you're still farming up your silencer. He didn't have to participate in that fight at all, aside from just casting his global. So you hold the line if you're VP. And you did force the black hole out, so G should feel really safe now.
Now, for those of you guys who are wondering, it's tied up 1-1, but who's actually winning the farm battle? If you take a look at the net worth, it's slightly favoring Alliance, and that all comes down to the power of a free farming Enigma, who really hasn't had to spend too much time rotating around and looking for those kills. It's pretty much only twice now that he's gotten himself away from farming.
Yeah, and at the same time, Loda has just been free farming in this bottom lane and doing a good job of it. Slightly out farming the silencer at the same time, and
is this Midas or Mjolnir? What is he holding on to so much gold? It looks like he just picked something up. It's going to be the Mjolnir. He picks up the Mithril Hammer. Do you think that's the right choice here? I mean, he's getting so much free farm. It's hard to say no to an early Midas, right?
I think if you're Alliance, this game, you want to fight around the global silence timing, and so going for early pick-off items, I think, is the right idea.
Okay.
Because what is the global silence going to do once you get your Chronosphere off, right? You just want to pump out as much damage as you can.
Yeah.
And I know Loda was super famous for going for the Midas really early on most of the carries that he's gone for.
Right.
But I think with the type of lineup that he has, he's actually opted to go for less of a hard carry and more of just a team fight carry. And I think that's been the transition as a player for him as well, right? Like, we're seeing less of the hard farm one position role that Loda used to play and playing more around Bulldog and Pycat style.
So we pick up Maelstrom and then go into the BKB in order to deal with the sleep as well as the Fissure, because those are pretty disruptive abilities when you throw out a Chronosphere.
Oh, definitely. Going for the BKB second, I think, is the right idea.
Yeah.
You have enough damage with what you have. You throw down the Chronosphere. Pycat or Ike actually picks up a level 6 at some time. He throws on the Mystic Flare. You don't need more damage from that. You just need to be able to get the Chrono off and actually get some damage out.
Now, you could see some rotations around from Alliance, but doesn't look like it's going to be too successful here. I mean, to start, Ake is still not level 6, or Queen of Pain, though, Pycat. Well, I guess with that rotation, they did ensure that Pycat had enough confidence to be able to push forward and do get that level 6, which is obviously going to be critical for killing some of these squishy heroes. Now, the Centaur ultimate goes off. DK Phobos hoping to catch it, but DK Phobos gets Chronosphere before he can get off the stomp. Now the global silence. DK Phobos on the wrong side of the Fissure, but he still managed to get a really good stomp on kill. Loda? No, he's going to end up going down. Push back. Admiral Bulldog does get DK Phobos in return, but unfortunately, Matt just not enough to be able to save his carry.
And I thought the mech was going to be able to do that for him, but just too much damage coming on the side of VP as they just wait for G to get initiated on, and the good counter initiation, and that was a beautiful global silence. It allowed DK Phobos to get his stun off, and really good map awareness by Illidan at that top lane, and he opts to go for the same build, going to the Rod of Atos again, and this is the most uncontested silencer in consecutive games that I've ever seen, and this is a hero that you don't want to have an early start. He's incredibly vulnerable in the early game, and I think you have to punish him, but Illidan's already picked up the booster, he's got a wand, and with 1100 HP and backup, I don't know if he's going to be able to go down anymore.
Yeah, again, going for the early stats as opposed to a potential Midas on both carries. Nice RP getting laid down, and they do quickly get the Earthshaker. Meanwhile, at bottom, VP will actually back themselves away. They were going for the smoke gank, but didn't actually find an opening. With Mad coming across, they decide against it.
Yeah, and that's a really smart rotation. Go to the bottom lane. Just
Admiral Bulldog grabs the double damage rune and blinks away. A little cheekiness from the dog.
Yeah, and he's been doing such a good job right now with whatever farm he's been able to get. Picking up a Blink Dagger at 11 minutes, I think that's roughly the timing that you want to get it at, because you actually have some decent levels of skewer. And so I think if you're Alliance, you're pretty comfortable with the item timings that you've had so far. Your team fight is so superior if you're able to get at least 2 of your abilities off. And they're going to take this bottom lane uncontested as well.
All right, Maelstrom is about to be finished for Loda. He's got the recipe coming his way, and all he just needs is that glove. Meanwhile, look at some of the items of VP. We do have the Blink Dagger, which is pretty essential for the Centaur. DK Phobos is about halfway there. We do have the mech to counter Mad's early mech on the SF. Lil is just picking up his level 6, doesn't have anything. In fact, wasted. Echo Slam gets laid up, but he still gets held in. Being scripted from the side. Can they actually kill Loda, though? Yes, they can. DK Phobos popping the ultimate, looking to be able to catch more, but Ake is far enough back to survive.
Yeah, and Alliance going for that classic combo with the Void and the Skywrath Mage ultimate, but so many responses from FNG as he just waited in that corner to be able to get that Fiend's Grip off, and you're seeing Loda get traded 1-for-1 for heroes that aren't cores.
Yeah, VP seemed to just have really good reads on situations. I mean, even from the early rotation into the SF jungle, or the Storm Spirits jungle, to be able to clear through that camp, and the support rotation that followed that up, and that was like a very clear-cut bait, with FNG sitting in the side, and Lil had his trigger finger there on the Echo Slam ready to go. They knew what was going to happen and countered it beautifully. They changed away an Earthshaker for a Faceless Void. They will take that every day of the week.
Yeah, and the Void had a significant farm lead over the Silencer, but Illidan just playing around his ultimate and continuing to farm up this top lane as he's been completely uncontested. I haven't seen a hero in this lane for like the last 6 minutes, and he just continues to plink away at creeps.
I mean, who can really go there, though? I mean, unless it's with some serious backup, any hero that shows up is going to be instantly harassed out by Last Word and Glades.
Yeah, and finally, as I say that, Alliance going to smoke up his 4. Loda showing himself, and this is the first time they've seen him. And FNG does place a ward down, and he's going to walk directly to the left. This is such a smart play by him as he creates a sandwich, and Illidan needs to walk up half a second early, and Ake gets spotted.
Yep, they see him now, and seems like Alliance's ruse to try and go for that smoke kick ends up being foiled. The rest of VP, well, they're going to try and push out middle lane. Look at that. DK Phobos almost has that Blink Dagger. This amount of space could be just enough time. They're actually going to try and go on Loda. Global Silence going out, and Alliance don't actually have a response to this one. With the silence being laid out now, DK Phobos right through the middle. Slows down a couple, still silence up though. Man, hits the ultimate. He's going to be able to get RP. Can he get more? Black Hole on 2. They're going to be able to lock him down. Lil goes for the Echo Slam to stop this one, but can't quite get it. God does manage to finish up. Bulldog bounces up way, and Alliance get wiped. VP do not drop a single hero despite the number of big ultimates.
And that's such a ballsy play by them. They knew Alliance was up there as spy. They see Loda isolated. They know they're in the jungle. They immediately go for the double ult play on the Loda. Alliance have 0 follow-up for that. VP follow-up with the team wipe, and I mean, I just can't speak enough about what FNG's been able to do with just levels. 0 farm on that hero, but is able to make so much happen with his Fiend's Grip, and Illidan with that Global Silence follow-up as well. And VP just looks so smooth.
They absolutely do, and now with several items being picked up, or about to be picked up, we got the Blink on DK Phobos. Illidan already has that Rod of Atos. We've got an SF who's going to start building into the classic mech BKB combination. Things are looking good for Virtus Pro, particularly if they can finish up this next round of item and go for some fights, start taking away some of the map control of Alliance.
Yeah, and that was actually a really good black hole by Mad in conjunction with the reverse polarity, but they just didn't have the damage. They need Loda to be able to survive, but who do you really send as your frontliner then? Pycat doesn't have enough farm to be able to do it. Loda doesn't have a BKB or any sort of follow-up. Like, he does have the mechanism, but his team has to be prepared for the jump if they want to be able to save him. So it's going to be really difficult right now for Alliance to actually get into a straight fight.
You can see Alliance. There is the attempted Roshan here from VP. This is a ballsy maneuver. This is twice now that they've gone for really early Roshans, and it seems like twice that they're going to be able to get it completely uncontested.
Yeah, and this should mean a free Roshan for G, and with that Alliance, they're going to go for the split push. I think they definitely know this is happening, and an immediate smoke gank is... They're going to rotate to this top lane, and Loda might chrono for this.
Oh, yeah, he wants Illidan bad. They're going to drop the Skywrath Mage ultimate. Illidan with all that extra HP is still not enough to survive through that combination. Lil looks through the Fisher. DK Phobos blinks to the side. Nice silence, but the Fiend's Grip is still there, and that will ensure Loda does indeed fall, unless he just keeps on getting backtracks, but no. No jump away. Farther upriver, we do have God fighting up against 3. Pops the mech, but it looks like he's completely surrounded. Will end up losing that Aegis.
No real spells were really used there. The Queen of Pain ultimate is pretty negligible as Alliance, though. They do kind of stop things as they get a pick off at that top lane. You trade your carry 1 for 1, and you do immediately get rid of the Aegis. So I'm a pretty big fan of what Alliance just did there. That wasn't bad. You get the XP on Loda at the same time. I think that's well worth it if you're Alliance. And with that Aegis down, I think VP are going to be a little bit more hesitant to just get into straight 5-on-5 engagements.
Yeah, I think they just kind of showcase that, you know, the stat build-up of Silencer with the Rod of Atos as well as Null Talisman and Power Treads, it's still not enough to survive through such a simple combo like the Chronosphere Skywrath Mage drop. So they're going to need a little bit more if they hope to be able to kind of split up and farm like the way they did with him. DK Phobos now has a Vitality booster. Now, is this actually going to be going into a Vanguard Crimson Guard play, or do we have something else in mind?
I think Crimson Guard against Faceless Void especially is so good. Alliance don't actually have that much physical damage. If you look at their lineup, the Queen of Pain doesn't have enough farm. Like, she's even gone for an Urn at this point, Cap.
Right.
That's the, I'm not going to do damage this game.
Yeah.
And you've got the Faceless Void, and that's pretty much it. Like, all your physical damage relies on the Faceless Void plus Empower combination. And so I think if you kind of go all in with that with the damage, it's a little bit too one-dimensional, and so it's pretty easy choice for DK Phobos to go for the Crimson Guard here.
All right, so the push uphill here, they're looking to try and take this tier 1 tower at top, and the rest of the lines are actually crowding around this staircase area. It looks like they almost wanted to try and get a pick off and a support, but that's not going to happen. With a single pull, Loda is easily able to take out that tier 1 tower and is getting quite close to that BKB. Despite 4 different deaths, I'm surprised at the amount of farm Loda has managed to pick up.
Yeah, he's done a really good job. 1 in 4, but it's kind of an awkward position in terms of your draft because you have to send Loda in first.
Yeah.
He's always going to get popped immediately is the issue.
Oh, nice deny on middle. Unfortunately, this is just... Alliance are in this really bad position where you look at their top net worth hero and it's actually their 4 position in decline. Now, it's not too uncommon, but unfortunately, just like heroes like the Faceless Void and the Queen of Pain do need a decent amount of farm to be bigger factors in the mid-game. Fortunately, Admiral Bulldog, he's got what he needs, right? Blink Dagger, Arcane Boots, everything else is just kind of luxury at this point. All he needs is one good RP to win a fight.
So you can't really discount Alliance's lineup because it's almost impossible to stop the Mag RP using the Global Silence. So VP have to pay attention to that at all times, but a Smoke King's going to come in, and number 1 net worth hero might be going down here as VP unable to run into him as they want to, and VP really want to get into a fight right now.
Yeah.
They have the advantages.
Seems like it. Now, we do have a BKB picked up for our Enigma. Now, that's pretty normal, mech into BKB. You don't usually think Blink Dagger. That's usually after those 2 items. But in this case, he's dealing with Fiend's Grip as well as Global Silence. Seems like even with the BKB, he's just not going to have good opportunities for a black hole.
Going for the Blink Dagger, though, is game-losing, because the Fissure just hard counters you.
Right.
Like, if the Earthshaker doesn't have a Blink Dagger, he's just going to sit back and wait for opportunities to Fissure. For example, if Bulldog goes in to go for the RP, then he just casts the Fissure, wherever the center is of that, and tries to stop the momentum, and VP are going to trade off with this mid tower. They do have a BKB now completed on the G. They've got the level advantage, and I think they want to take this top fight, or at least repel them back, but...
DK Phobos, yeah, he wanted that initiation. He may still find it here. Ake's going to TP out, but he'll steal a couple of heroes. Blink Dagger is up, but Alliance will be able to successfully back themselves up, and they do have Loda pushing in the bottom lane. A very favorable split push for them, especially with Loda about to get that critical BKB.
Yeah, and you just need to buy time if you're Alliance. This is the same situation they were in last game, but they've got better heroes for it. Like, they've got more mobility than they did last game. All they had last game, I felt, was the Phoenix as a split pusher and the Storm Spirit, but this game, they can kind of maneuver around the map. They have supports that can take advantage of the jungle, and at top, Bulldog's going to be the target.
Yeah, he skewers, but that's not going to save him. God gets that clean last hit, thanks his ally for a free kill steal. And another kill going their way. Centaur actually already has that buckler, so Crimson Guard is not too far away. But again, I'm still worrying about that BKB from Loda, who's now going to jump on a little bit.
Instant Echo Slam almost got him. Now he's going to be able to get out of the Skywrath Mage ultimate. He may just survive for this. Loda has to come in heavily for it. Can DK Phobos punish him? They already have the Rado to Atos out, and yep, Loda can't get away from this one. He ends up once again trading himself to the Earthshaker because of the clutch timings of Lil. DK Phobos chasing away the rest.
but will be rebuffed by the Queen of Pain's dagger.
All right, I don't even know what to say right now. Lil's like the best player in this game. Being able to get that Echo Slam off at that time.
So clutch.
Yeah, and he forces Loda to use everything. He time walks forward, and that's what has to happen. But, I mean, Loda, you have to go for that play, but at the same time, Lil was just right there with the Echo Slam immediately, like you said.
FNG looks like he wants to try and get an early BKB. He's traveling right now in a pair with God. The two of them could easily get a pick off on one, but if they just go for someone like Pycat, you see them plenty of heroes behind Alliance ready to go, ready to jump on that one. Illidan as well as DK Phobos doing something similar, invading the Alliance jungle.
This really gives them a good idea that they're not top, but they're still going to try and go for it. Fiend's Grip, and clean, quick kill as Alliance once again are left to deal with this global silence and the Centaur ultimate, where they just can't initiate. They get up there, but they're still silenced. They can't pop any of their disables, and then VP just go ahead and use the Centaur ultimate as well to get those two heroes out. It's the same exact read, I think. I think they absolutely knew Alliance was behind Pycat, but there was no way for them to stop it without their BKBs.
Oh, that was a pretty obvious bait, especially with the way that Pycat was playing off of the creeps. Typically, you'll see, if you're really afraid, you'll play behind the creeps at all times.
Yep.
But as soon as the creep wave was about to die, Pycat sends himself a little bit forward to try to scout ahead for enemies and tell his teammates, okay, we can go on this. And Alliance are just being outmaneuvered, though, every single time. We saw that combination at top around the 13-minute mark where they went for it on Loda, and they do the same thing to Pycat.
Now, this does mean Alliance do have a serious advantage with Global Silence down as well as Fiend's Grip.
God, there's the RP on the God. DK Phobos couldn't get the stun in time. God now going to be locked in by that Chronosphere. Fisher stalls him up a little bit longer. God is surviving for quite a long time, is able to pop his own BKB. Loda's still looking for those right clicks. He's committing heavily for this one, but now has to turn for Lil as God manages to pop out his ultimate on just 70 HP. Can he TP out in time? Oh no, the ultimate Scarab Mage snaps him. Admiral Bulldog tries to go for the Fisher, but can't quite get it. Okay, will manage to eliminate one. Black Hole onto two. Both Lil, there's a nice Queen of Pain ultimate as well, but it's just not enough to finish anybody. VP survived through it. They lost God, but managed to pick up two others, and that's it.
And they simply just don't have enough damage, is the thing, is that Loda goes all in for that Shadow Fiend, unable to bring him down. He's got the BKB and the mech. A really good heads-up play by Ake, throwing down that ultimate, seeing that the Shadow Fiend went for the TP, but they just simply don't have the damage on anybody aside from Loda right now.
And Illidan, is this what I think it is? Early refresher pickup for him against this Wombo combo lineup. Pycat
just working his way through. He's trying to kite Illidan around as much as possible, but DK Phobos says no. You want some, dog? Come get some. Illidan manages to take that kill and backs himself up to the jungle to continue to farm.
And he's already getting a pretty absurd amount of intelligence as he's been able to survive in all of these team fights. It's been the Shadow Fiend that's been the target, and he's already stolen 18 intelligence from the side of Alliance, and that really starts to stack up as that's pretty much a free item. That's 2 Staff of Wizardries going on the way of Illidan right now.
Oh, and there's that finished up refresher against this combination. I mean, we already said, the analyst talked about it, this silencer was kind of an obvious pickup for VP. It was such a good counter to the Wombo combo of Alliance, and now we have a second global silence available. This means the BKBs are not going to be nearly as effective as Alliance start picking them up.
Yeah, and I'm still surprised that they opted to not go for the silencer ban when they took the Enigma, the Faceless Void. They picked a mobile hero in that Queen of Pain. Like, that's so many heroes that rely on being able to get any abilities off.
Right.
And those are also heroes that typically don't want to get BKBs early. Like, that's the thing. If you're playing against a Shadow Fiend, you're going to get a BKB pretty quickly if you're playing against a Silencer. But if you're a Faceless Void, you don't want it to be your first item. Like, even getting it second, I feel, limits the amount of damage that you can put out. Because he throws down the Chronosphere in that last fight, and he doesn't even do more than 600, 700 damage to G.
7 to 15, 26 and a half minutes in here. Gold-wise, it's still looking good for VP. 4,000 advantage there and an over 10,000 experience advantage. Again, that gold probably coming back to our Enigma, who's still farming quite well. Loda's actually doing okay too. I mean, for 5 different deaths and not actually managing to pick up any of these kills, I'm still impressed with the way that Loda is keeping, just a little behind VP's farm.
Oh, Alliance are going to go for the Smoke Ink as
this could be big.
VP are smoked as well, and they don't know whether the Roche attempt is going on. They're going to send the Eidolon in. G's going to hit it, and this should signal...
Oh, but the stop on 2 Echoes and to follow up, and there's already 2 down with Loda caught inside the Fiend's Grip as well. Mad manages to survive. There goes has the second global, and Loda just can't get himself away. Backtrack, he gets a little bit more. Can he jump out? Another backtrack. DK Phobos says your luck ends here. A big cleave to the face. Jumping for more. Pycat blinks out just in time. But what a beautiful initiation from DK Phobos, setting up the rest of the team beautifully.
And Alliance, they forced the buyback out on Ake at the same time, thinking they were going to continue to get in that fight. But with Loda down, he had no opportunity to use that Chronosphere. The first global silence hit, he pops his BKB. Then the second global silence hits, and there's no follow-up as Lil.
Admiral Bulldog, he wants the pick off. He will be able to get the skewer back. That's just one. VP has stalled up their Roshan attempt for now, just with that one pick off. But it looks like they should still be able to do it here. Alliance are just hoping they still have that RP, though. VP, they've used both their double silences. There goes Admiral Bulldog. He's trying to snatch it. DK Phobos again. Another double stun, but a big old-fashioned black hole gets laid out from that. Unfortunately, there's just no damage to follow it up. Alliance are going to be running themselves away, but there's no escape from VP.
Yeah, and I don't even know if, the RP wasn't even used there. They all in for that Roshan, unable to do so, and that's another team wipe for VP. Is what do you really say as an analyst? They just got 5-man team wipe. They gave up the Aegis at the same time. That's so much experience in gold going the way of VP. I don't even think they need to wait for the next Aegis. I think you just get aggressive on the map, take the tier 2s. You've built up so much of an advantage, and I have to highlight again how well Lil has been playing with his fissures. The first Blink Dagger reveal, that Echo Slam set everything up, ruined Alliance's chances into this game, and now this tier 2 is going to fall, and Illidan just continues to get more farm, and with his DD, this is going to be a free tier 2.
Yeah, and you thought they were hard to kill before. DK Phobos is halfway through to his Aghanim Scepter, and with the way these towers are dropping like flies, it could be just a couple minutes until we see that big damage reduction, which we haven't actually talked about just yet. But the Centaur Aghanims upgrade, a lot of people thought that was a huge buff to the Centaur, who gets an added benefit of not really having much he wants to go for outside of Blink and maybe Crimson Guard.
It's going to help G so much. If you thought it was difficult to kill anybody on Virtus Pro before, you've got a Crimson Guard and the Aghanim Scepter. Loda's Chronosphere actually isn't going to be able to do any damage. And he's always going to be able to get it off because the Centaur will split himself from the Shadow Fiend, so they don't both get Black Hold or Chronoed. And at top, this is a pretty good fight for them.
Yeah, skewer back. They're going to try and catch God here, force out the BKB. They do manage to get the Chronosphere. Admiral Bulldog, there's the Fiend's grip, and sure enough, God now lets loose the ultimate. Turns things around quite quickly. One out. Loda's going to fall as well. The buyback is there from Mad.
He still needs to try and get some sort of help to stop this tier 3 from going down, but with 2 of their cores already down and out, they just do not have the damage to stop this one. Their first lane of Rax is going to fall, and there's nothing they can do to stop it.
That was a perfect initiation for Alliance. No Aegis up on G, and they still weren't able to take him down with everything. And this just kind of, this has to be really demoralizing to Alliance in this game right now, is they used every spell in the book to try to take down G, unable to do so.
8-24. Virtus Pro now knocking on a second lane of Rax. The tier 3 tower already down, and they're just going to keep on going. They know they have 15 seconds. Hockey's actually going to be going down here. Mad, who pops his BKB, doesn't actually have anything to stop this. Pycat also tried to follow that up, but it was just a futile attempt, and it looks like at very least the range Rax will go down. Admiral Bulldog is here. They need to get something out of this one. They got to catch VP. They can't just let them walk away with a free pickoff. Looks like FNG is going to be that target. Quickly gets skewered and goes down, but they need a little bit more. Unfortunately, Illidan as well as DK Phobos already backed themselves away.
And the Aghanim is complete. The top Rax is taken, and that's such an infusion of gold for VP. Have we even looked at the net worth graph yet? I'm a little bit afraid right now.
Yeah, it's monstrous. 20,000 both gold and experience lead for VP. Silencer, does he get okay, no, he looks like he's going to go for the Scythe of Ice. I thought maybe he would go for the Aghanims just because he already has a refresher at this point.
I think the Aghanims is... If you get it really early, it can be pretty effective, where the curse damage actually does something.
Sure.
But if you notice the way that Illidan builds his Silencer is he just goes pure HP.
Right.
Going for that booster off the bat, he goes for the Curse of the Silent at like level 22 or something like that. Like he actually just skips it and opts to go for stats. And I think that's the correct way to play because he's such a squishy carry early on, and I think this is a good move by him. And Going for the
Alliance,
pressure.
they're just searching for anything at this point, but they won't even get it. Oh, Yule Scepter, never mind. It looks like they
Got the
will
Force
catch
Staff.
Lil. Never mind. He's got himself a 4-staff already. Man, even this Earthshaker is super farm. Jump in the middle lane. They're going to go for God here.
They're dropping that Skywrath Mage ultimate, but there's a damage reduction. They still can't kill him. RP, though, managed to catch 3. Big play from Bulldog with the black hole on top of it, but a Fisher to intercept. Admiral Bulldog now getting locked out by TK Phobos. Loda looking to beat through these supports. A big Echo Slam. Lil might just turn this fight yet. Loda dropping low. Illidan managed to pick up that kill, and again, Alliance. They're getting so close, and yet every single time there's a response from Lil to shut things down.
And that was such a huge Echo
Oh my
Slam.
God, he even
catch
stops
Pycat.
Pycat. He gets him with the Fisher. Pycat's going to be forced to blink away. There's no follow-up from VP, but this guy just doesn't stop. Stops the black hole, gets a big Echo Slam. Lil, where does this game end, man?
And you might actually find him as DK Phobos is on the hunt, but Pycat senses danger, just continues to blink out, and he should be okay for this. Even using DK Phobos into the air, but he's the only one alive as VP are making their charge down the mid lane as 4 heroes are prepared.
They may just be able to get this melee Rax real quickly and back themselves away before Faceless Void is up. They're going to go for it.
They know the
1800
Chronosphere is down.
Oh, that's true. It's down for another 40 seconds as well. So even if they do, they have no RP, they have no Chronosphere, they really have no catching mechanisms against VP. So even if they were up, it's questionable whether Alliance can actually take that fight in the first place. So sure enough, VP get the melee racks, back themselves away. Now all that's left is that bottom lane where the tier 2 is already below 200 HP. And they can even just wait out the next Roshan if they really wanted to.
You know how you know you're hurting for damage cap?
How's that?
Oh, self-Yule Scepter to be able to dodge that one. Pycat's not going to get away from the Enchant Totem. Oh, blinks out just in time. DK Phobos still wants to run him down. Don't skewer away. Nice save from Admiral Bulldog. Pycat still looking to get out. Gets swept up. Now the ultimate getting dropped into Skywrath Mage. Pycat Fiend's Grip will end up going down. DK Phobos. What a play, but Loda comes in with the 2-man Chronosphere. Maybe they can still get this one. Illidan's going to be the target. What a bash. They take him out. VP just lose their first fight of all game.
I was gonna say the Faceless Void went for the 34-minute Wraith Band, and maybe that's what was that enabled him to go for the extra damages. I think Loda realized the dire straits they're in, but a beautiful team fight as DK Phobos. They sense the advantage. They decide to go on Pycat, way overcommitting for that, and the refresher was even popped. Unable to take down Pycat is a beautiful bait by him, and Alliance with the response, and things aren't quite over yet as they still have one more Rax to play with.
Still, though, you glance back at both God and Illidan sitting at 17k with even the Centaur ahead of our Faceless Void. It is a big mountain to climb if Alliance want to get back into this game. We've got a Shadow V now, just casually gets himself an Alpha Wolf. I'm sure he's going to be looking at Satanic later on into the game. Where do you go with our Centaur now? Do you just get some sort of like late game disable? You try and go for a Scythe of Ice, or one of those later items like Lotus Orb to try and help out your allies? Or where do you go after Axe?
I think Assault Curse is a really good idea right now. Just pump up the SF as much as you can. It looks like he's going to go opt for the utility build anyways. I think it's a good idea. Going for an AC or a Shiva's Guard, you can't really go wrong with either option. And VP not even going to wait for the Roshan. I think this is the sense that they are so far ahead right now that it probably doesn't matter.
Yeah, and Roshan fights are still very dangerous against Alliance, who have such good AoE control.
They don't have to go for this, though, as there's only one Rax left for them to go for, and if they won one team fight, I don't think Alliance have the farm necessary to contest, so of course they're going to wait for the Roshan. Why would you not? Why would you just all in for that?
Yeah, too dangerous of a play, and it's going to be up here in just 2 minutes' time.
Oh, what a pickup by Lil.
Damn, that Ethereal Blade, that's going to be a huge saving factor against the Faceless Void. I actually thought we were going to see, you mentioned the AC, and I think that's an excellent pickup. I actually think maybe Illidan goes for it. We've seen Silencers rock the Assault Cuirass before, and he's primarily worried against, like Faceless Void, if you jump in, who are you really gunning for? If you can get anybody in the Chronosphere, who's your first target in damage? Is it God? Is it Illidan? Do you try and get one of the supports in the back since they're easier kills?
I think you have to burst down Illidan as fast as you can. For how much HP he has versus how much damage he puts out and the utility that he brings, he's got the Global Silence, he's got a Scythe of Ice.
Right.
You have to take him down, and he's only got 2100 HP. Like, that's manageable for Alliance.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have a BKB either, and so with those two things in mind, I think if you're Loda, you're looking for that back line to try
Look
to
at that
isolate
ward.
Illidan.
There goes the RP, but the instant sight device. Admiral Bulldog, this was not the fight he wanted, or maybe not. The Chronosphere onto 2. They go straight for Illidan, but he's just not taking any damage. The damage reduction out from the Centaur is keeping him alive. Mad actually pops the black hole. It instantly stops, and GG, well played. Alliance knew
It all came down to just one attempted team fight in order to move on to the next stage. Unfortunately, though, they didn't get that team fight, and Virtus Pro taking it in an incredibly clean 2-0.
Yeah, they just worked on their teamwork. They improved upon the last game where I felt like they were a little bit too impatient.
Sure.
But this game, it was all Virtus Pro. The setups, what we saw with FNG at that bottom lane, at that top lane as well, when they set up for Loda, like that was a 5-man smoking. There were 4 into the jungle, and they still went for the kill on Loda, and from there